It is now time to attach my waistband to the top of my pants, but there's a couple things I need to do first. One thing I need to do is figure out where I want my pockets. I want my pockets to turn to my front, so I need to figure out which side's my front and which side's my back. If you marked your front and back, that's the easiest way to tell. If not, the next easiest way to tell is just figure out which side has extra fabric. So if you look over here, this is my front because it's smaller than the back. There's the back hanging out, if that makes sense. So if I look at over here, this is my back because it is bigger than the front piece, okay? It folds over and then it sews. So this is my back right here. Then I'm gonna turn this over, so now I'm looking at my front pieces. I've also marked my front pieces so I know that they're my front pieces. But I'm gonna take these pockets and I am going to open up this seam like so. And I'll take my pocket along the top of the front to make sure it's the front, and I'm gonna pin it to my front piece here. Like so that I know my pocket is gonna go to my front. Otherwise your pants are gonna be really, really weird. Over here, I'm just gonna double check that this is my front piece. Again, you can tell it's the front because it's smaller than the back piece. The back has all this extra and the front is smaller. Then I'm going to go ahead and take my pocket and I'm just gonna open up this seam and I'll pull my pocket along the front so it's even. And then I'll pin it at the end so that my pocket goes to my front. Okay, so I've done that far. The next thing I need to do is with my waistband. And I want my pants inside out for this, so make sure they're inside out. Next thing I'm gonna do is take my waistband and I'm going to fold it in half. So I'm gonna make sure that these seams are open here, and I will put my open seams together like that. And I'm gonna just line up the seams right on top of each other and put a pin in them so that they stay nice. Then I'll go ahead and do the other side. Again, making sure my seams are open. This side has the hole in it. That's okay. I want the hole in it, right? I'm going to put my seam allowances together there. Line up these seams. I'll line those up and then I'm going to pin them when they're all lined up with each other. Then I will just make sure that the rest of it gets folded in half like so. I'm going to make note of where my hole is. So my hole's right here and I want it on the inside, okay? So I'm holding this whole thing with my hole on the inside, okay? And my pattern is going upside down. It's kind of hard to tell, but my pattern is going upside down right now, okay? So I want my pattern upside down, this hole on the inside, and then I'm going to insert this inside of the top of my pants. I will line up these side seams over here, so let me zoom in. So I have my side seam, and I'm gonna take this seam, and I'll line these two seams up with each other. So they're right on top of each other, and I'll pin them together. I want those right on top of each other. Make sure you're looking at the seam from the right side of the pants. The right side of the pants, because on the other side there's a bunch of seams, so it can get confusing. So make sure you're looking at this side here. Again, I want my pocket going towards the front. Then I'll take the other side seam and I'll line it up with the other side seam of my pants. So I'm going to look at it on the right side, line those seams right up on top of each other and pin them together so they stay nice. Next, I'm going to find my notches and I'll line my notches up. So first I'll line the notches up on the waistband together so that the wrong sides are touching, and then I'll find my notch here on the pants. So that's 3 layers that we're pinning together. Pin those. Then I'm going to find my next set of notches, so line the notches up on my waistband again. And then I'll line this guy up again and pin. I want to open up the seam allowance too, so I'm just going to pin that seam allowance open here, like so. And then I'll do the back as well. It's the same thing, lining up the notches on my waistband and then with the pants. Make sure those all line up together very nice. And put a pin And then I'll do these notches over here. Waistband notches are lined up. And then my pants notches. And I'll open up my seam allowance again. The next thing I'm going to do is called easing it in. I'm going to ease the waistband into the pants because the waistband is smaller than my pants. And that's how it's supposed to be, because my waistband's going to hold my pants up. But you can see here that this loop on my pants is much bigger than my waistband. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a pin. I'm going to stretch this out. So I'm taking from my notches to my side seam. I'm stretching it out, and then I will just pinch the middle with my finger. It helps sometimes if you have a partner here, but if you don't have a partner, then you can just stretch and then pinch in the middle with your finger. And I'll line up all those raw edges, and that should roughly break that bump in half. So it's going to be about in half. I will pin this here, and I'm just breaking up that ease in half. So I'm going to ease it in. I will do that again right here. It's a little bit easier when they're closer together. So I'm going to stretch it out, holding my 2 points that are already pinned, and I'm going to pin just right in the middle of them. So you always want to do it right in the middle because you're dividing that bulge in half, like so. And then even if I wanted to, I could go and do that again. I would suggest pinning every inch or so, and we're just going to go around and do this whole thing every inch or so. So now I'm going to go back to these 2 pins, pin in the middle, and then I'll pin in the middle of both of those spots. When I get to the pocket, it's a little bit trickier because I have a lot more layers, but it's the same idea. Again, a partner can help here. So I'm going to grab where I've pinned at the notches and grab where I've pinned at the side seam. Going to pull that all so that my seams are all tight together, and then I'm going to pinch as best I can in the middle. And it's hard when it's just me, right? So I'm going to hold it with my 2 outside, sorry. Going to hold it like this, and then I'm going to just pinch right here. Again, it's a lot easier if you have a partner, but I don't have a partner, so just doing the best I can. I pin in the middle of that, and I'm going to double check that I've broken that ease in half, and that's about half. And now it's a lot easier now that it's smaller. So I'll take from where I've pinned the 2 points, and I'm just going to pin in the middle of those and break that in half and break this in half as well. I'm going to pin all my seam allowance down here. There's quite a bit of seam allowance right here. Okay, so I'm going to pin all that down. And then I will continue over here, just breaking up in half what I already have pinned, pinning here, and pinning here. Okay, so my pocket should be pinned in really well. If there's anywhere where I'm seeing a big lump, then I'm gonna just go ahead and put a pin in the middle of that, like right here maybe. I'll put a pin in the middle of that, and that'll make it easier to avoid a tuck. The more pins, the less likely you are to have a tuck. I'm gonna go around and do the same thing all the way around. You don't have to watch it in a video, but I will just keep going all the way around the waistband.